Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Investing Explained. Here's today's question. What are some of the most common mistakes that you see new flippers make, and how should they avoid those mistakes?
One is over improving. So like I just said, they'll go in and they'll say, okay, everybody has carpet, but I really need the Italian tile. Or everybody has laminate countertops, but I really need the quartz countertops. I need the $8,000 kitchen appliance package because I want this to be a gourmet kitchen when none of the other houses are. So again, even if you can get your price, even if you can easily get a buyer, you're probably just giving up money there. Another big mistake that I see where a lot of investors will go in, and when I say under improve, there's a couple of ways to under improve. One, they can use inferior materials. So they can use materials that are lower grade than the competition. But the bigger issue that I see is a lot of investors will go in with subpar contractors. So maybe you're putting in the same countertops, the same flooring, the same windows, the same appliances, the same cabinets. Maybe your house looks exactly the same as your competition. But if you're using subpar contractors, that's going to come up in an inspection. And a smart home buyer, a smart real estate agent, a smart inspector, a smart appraiser is going to see that there are quality issues and they're going to point that out to the homeowner. And even if you're using the same exact materials, subpar contractors to save money can really cost you a lot of money in the end. So that's the next thing I see. Next, people that try and sell their houses without listing them on the MLS. So I used to say people that try and sell their houses without a real estate agent. These days, you don't necessarily need a real estate agent, but you want to sell your house. You want your house to be listed on the MLS. And there are ways to do that without a real estate agent. There are what are called flat fee listings, listing services where you basically put your house for a few $100s or $1,000 on the MLS without having a real estate agent. But for those people who think that they can sell their house FSBO, so for sale by owner, putting it on Craigslist or doing other things other than putting it on the MLS, again, I'd say you're probably diluting a large percentage. I don't know the exact number, but a very large percentage of buyers these days are still coming through the MLS, people that have real estate agents. And the number of people that I see that don't sell on the MLS because they don't want to give away 2 or 3% or even 5 or 6% if they have their own agent. They want to save that money because they're not getting as large a buyer pool. That's another one that I see people, another mistake I see people make all the time. Here's another one. This one, I just talked to somebody. I saw somebody the other day that did this. So this is top of mind for me. When you're flipping a house, unless you're flipping a $5 million house or a $50 million house or a house where you're going to have 1 or 2 or 3 buyers in the world, you typically, when you're flipping a house, you want to keep your finishes as neutral as possible. You don't want to do something that's taste specific, that's too custom, that's going to reduce your buyer pool. The reason why house flippers are successful is because they have the greatest number of potential buyers to buy their end product. And if you go in and you make a house too custom, you do fancy wall colors, or you do some type of fancy flooring, or you do these rare cabinets that nobody ever sees, you're basically shutting out a large percentage of your buyers that don't have that fashion sense, that don't come in and say, oh my God, those are those Italian floors that Elton John has in his house. Most people don't have that. What they want to see is, no, every place else has hardwoods that are brown. I want to see brown hardwoods. And every other place has standard quartz countertops. I want to see standard quartz countertops. Every other place is painted beige or brown or some neutral gray. I want a house that's beige or brown or neutral gray, and they can't see past that neutrality. So don't try and get fancy. We learned this lesson. My wife, when we first started out, my wife would literally spend hours and hours and hours in Home Depot picking out custom lighting packages and custom faucet packages and custom color schemes for every single one of our houses. We were selling $100,000 houses, and our buyers didn't want custom. And even if they liked custom, we were spending too much money and we were wasting so much time trying to customize each of these houses that we were losing time. And again, time is money. So keep things neutral. Do the same thing in every house. Doing the same thing in every house means you can buy things in quantity. We buy our paint in hundreds of gallons at a time because we use the same paint in every house. So we might as well get quantity discounts. We do the same thing with our appliances. We do the same thing with our flooring. We do the same thing with our cabinets and countertops. We do the same thing with everything. Our contractors never have to wonder, what color am I supposed to paint this house? I once walked into one of my houses where the trim was painted purple. And what happened was my wife just wrote down a Sherwin-Williams number incorrectly. She transcribed a couple numbers. My contractors, for some reason, never questioned why we might have suggested purple trim. So they went out and bought this light purple trim to repaint it. And these days we use the same color paint in every house. We use the same color trim, same color ceiling paint. And that way our contractors never have to wonder, am I doing this right? Did they make a mistake on this? They can buy things in bulk. So I always recommend do things, be as neutral as possible, and just replicate your finishes in every house.
That's all for this episode of Real Estate Investing Explained. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or subscribe to our YouTube channel to get even more free content.